And welcome back, everybody. I have a special guest for you today. This is Firefighter Adam. We have been talking a little bit on TikTok and kind of focusing on the topic of personal wellness, which, as you know, if you follow the show for a little bit, is a big thing that we harp on, both physical and mental wellness. So, Adam and I have not talked a whole lot. This is our first time actually engaging face to face, so hopefully this will be entertaining for you guys. Adam, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do and what you're passionate about?
So I'm firefighter Adam on TikTok, IA Fireman 939. I am from Iowa, born and raised. Left a little bit during my time with the Army. I was with the Army National Guard. We'd go different places and whatnot. Came back. Uh, Moved to the town that I'm in right now that I reside. I'm a firefighter EMT for this city. We're about 4,000 people. We run about 500 calls a year. And then for my main job, I'm a rescue technician EMT for a steel mill. And then I'm also on our county water rescue team. So I don't have a life.
I don't think any of us do.
I began to throw this whole idea around about a couple months ago about getting a group of people of the public safety family, firefighters, cops, EMTs, paramedics, even nurses, and throw it in there, and to help with people that are trying to lose weight. And I'm not even, and you have the people who are scrawny that are on an ambulance, or you have, and can't help lift a 400-pound patient, or, the smaller nurses, the smaller cops, the smaller firefighters, help them gain weight, gain muscle. And then the other part was mental health. What better group besides talking to some psychologists than to talk to each other, because we've all seen the same things, and to be able to help each other out in every aspect we could possibly think of. And instead of it coming from a small, ripped out dude that's trying to sell you some type of program, oh, yeah, you can get like this in 6 months. No, I feel that coming from I mean, I am a very large man. I mean, I stand about 6'3" and I weigh about like 360. But I still put on bunker gear and do the work. Does it suck the next day? Yes. It's horrible. But it, if seeing a guy like me can do the work and try to help out what I've done to be able to lose the weight or gain more strength in one which way or the other, I'm able to pass it along and hopefully help somebody else. That's the whole goal that I want to do.
Was there kind of a point where I guess you could say emotionally you kind of hit rock bottom with it? Because a lot of people will gain the weight. They will, I mean, myself included. I was technically my heaviest at the beginning of this year, but the fat to muscle ratio has shifted over the years. And I know I got to a point where I said, "Fuck it, I'm tired of this. I want to feel better. I want to be better." What was that turning point for you?
When I went to the army and everything, they told me I was fat at 215 pounds. I mean, I wrestled at 215, and I was like, I'm fat? Fuck, okay. I walked out of basic training in AIT at 170 pounds. I
Hmm.
went from a size 38 to a 30. I felt like when I came home, instead of like the cheers, they should have played the Sarah McLachlan song and asking me for, 2 cents a day to feed this kid. Um, but from when I came home from deployment, the PTSD, dealing with a bunch of stuff happening, dove into alcohol super hard. Um, and plus all the medications that the VA just gives out. Like, I went from a leaned out 215, 220. My heaviest was 375. And I went back into public service, as a firefighter, and we were at a fire. And when we got done, I was sitting in the back of the rig, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking die. Like, I am seriously gonna fucking die. Like, I felt my heart pounding through my chest. I could feel my jugulars just pulsating. Um, and it's taken some time over time to get myself back to start losing weight and everything. my chemical imbalance has been just so screwed up. And so like now I'm on testosterone therapy and then I got to go on another peptide and all this other stuff. But at that time, at that fire, at my heaviest, that was the day that I was like, fuck, man, if I don't change something, like I'm going to die. And that's the big scope of like, even with firefighters that, 12 hours to 24 hours after a fire, they either have a PE or they have a heart attack and they're dead. They die in their sleep or they die when they get home. Um, Paramedics and EMTs, you're in the truck 12 hours a day. You're stopping at fucking McDonald's or whatever and you're stuffing your face. You could be working a code and you could end up being a code yourself. Police officers, they don't have to do a continuous PT test for some departments. And then they get heavy. Um, and then they end up having a heart attack while they're chasing a bad guy. Um, that's one of the things I hope that somewhere along the line we can end up stopping.
Is there, and I know this varies region by region because in general, and I'm not a firefighter. I have worked for a fire department, but that was just in a part-time capacity as a like medic only. Um, in general, there does seem to be a little more of an emphasis in the fire community on fitness than pretty
Mhm.
much anywhere else. But even as you pointed out, there's a lot of places that aren't keeping up with it, that aren't, pushing their people in that way.
Right. And so for even us just being a volunteer, paid volunteer department, we get paid on the EMS side, whatever. Um, our department, we try to at least work out. We were doing group workouts in the station, but then we had a gym here in our town, ended up getting new ownership, and now the city pays for our gym membership because we went to them and looked and we're like, hey, this is a very physical demanding job and we need to start being in better shape because we're not doing it 24/7. So now they pay for our gym membership and we just go there for free and we can go work out as much as we want. Um, I feel that no matter what, fire all the way down to nursing, all the way, everybody should be at least doing something because we're trying to be there for somebody's bad day. And if we end up failing because we can't be good on our physical and mental health, then what are we doing? What are we doing?
Do you feel that the accessibility of having a free membership actually encourages people to go? Did you see a shift in mindset with people that they said, "Oh, well, I can go do this for free, so I'm going to go take advantage of it."
Yeah, even our new people that we got on, I think we've gotten like maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15, 20 new, maybe 15, I think the max. And everybody's like, oh, you can go to the gym for free. And we're like, yeah. Right now I'm taking a class and our instructor we were talking about, that was one of the things we were talking about was physical fitness and everything. And our training captain was like, yeah, we send guys to the gym for free. And he goes, are you kidding me? And he's on a volunteer department in Southern Iowa. And he's like, how did you guys get that to work? And so I think that might be being passed on. That's the big thing too with like paid guys are always jabbing at volunteers and they're like, oh, you guys are just big fat pieces of slab. You don't do this every day. Well, okay, cool. But there's some people out there that are trying to change that curve. But a lot of people in our department, they do go to it quite a bit.
Is it the fact that it's accessible, or is it the fact that there's more of a cultural push for it? A cultural like, yes, there's a positive and a negative to it. You have a positive motivation of doing it together, and it's a bonding experience, and especially as guys, we bond better when we do things together, when we're building or accomplishing something.
I think it's the part of the accessible part because it's open 24 hours. There's some of us that do go together, and we'll go to the gym. Actually, the other day, the training captain called me. He goes, hey, you want to go to the gym? I'm like, I would, but I got to work tonight and I have class. And he's like, all right, I'll catch you later on the next one. I'm like, all right, cool. Um, I think if there's a way and I know not every department could do it, but I feel if there was a way, there was an accessibility to at least a treadmill or some dumbbells, that'd be golden. But I mean, you can also make your own stuff out of anything around you to do a workout in. You can use the rig if you're just parked on the side of the road waiting for a call. You can do some elevated push-ups off the back of the rig. Or, if you have one of them gallon jugs of water, that's like, I don't know how many pounds, but you can use that as a curls. I think, but having the gym as an accessible port 24 hours, I think that's a lot of people's like, oh yeah, I can go do it anytime, anywhere.
Do you see that as a more powerful motivation, or maybe hand in hand with? I'm trying to word this accurately because I don't want to come across as mean spirited or condescending because I'm not I'm not a super skinny ripped dude. I'm a
Right.
big frame that has to work hard just to keep it at a bare minimum. But do you think there's a certain value in maybe almost a negative motivation, like, hey bro, like why aren't you keeping up with everybody else? Why aren't you going to the gym? Like, not bullying or outright like fat shaming, but just there's a certain like, hey, come on, like this is expected. Let's go. Like, don't fall behind from everybody else.
I think if that was being pushed in a more positive light, but I mean, you see a lot of people in the fire service or in the EMS service or anything that you see people even on TikTok that they're at the gym working out. I think if there was more a positive approach to it, I guess the people who, are not so active would probably become more active. I think if we got rid of the negativity and just brought the positivity of like, hey, you're going to feel 10 times better. You're going to look 10 times better. You're going to perform 10 times better. One of the things for combat veterans is that if you go work out, your dopamines kick in and you don't feel depressed. That's one of the biggest things. Like I don't know exactly where they're at, but I know that there's this huge ass facility where they send veterans and all it is just nothing but a gym. And they go and they work out and then they go and do their mental health classes and then they can go work out and they get, uh, I think that if it was more of a positive approach to do things, and that's one of the things that I want to do is that everybody to get rid of the negative and trying to stop eat our own bullshit and kind of put that into the way of like trying to get more people healthier. And I don't want to bury my friends because they died of a heart attack or, they died with a cheeseburger in their mouth. I don't want to do that.
You referenced the Discord server that you put together. Tell me a little bit more about that and what that looks like as far as how you're pushing this out in a good way to the public service
Well,
community.
I haven't got to really push it out much. I've pushed it out there a couple times. Like I said, life has been busy in the last 2 months. I don't have all the rooms set up. I'm like the smartest, dumbest man you'll ever meet, but I can't figure out Discord to save the life of me. Like, I'm like, how the fuck do I build a room? Like, I got this far, but I don't know anything else. So that's still in the works. If I have somebody, whoever may listen to this, can be like, hit me up and be like, hey, idiot, this is how you do it. I'm cool with it. Um, but there'll be like different chats for like losing weight, gaining weight, um, gym critiques. Later on down the road, I would love to have somebody who's like a nutritionist that can be like, hey, these are the better foods for you, to lose weight or to gain weight. And then have a mental health area there. I wouldn't say I wouldn't try to get a shrink in there because
They might
shrinks are
run away screaming
awesome.
and crying.
Um, but just to have these types of chat rooms and then even like having a progress page of people who are losing weight, gaining weight, whatever, just to help boost, motivate, and put it in more of a positive light.
When you start talking about any kind of self improvement in the public service community, we're typically fairly closed off, especially to outside people that aren't in our community, we normally like to listen to those people. Are there resources, whether it's podcasts, books, what have you, that were helpful for you in kind of shaping your mindset towards this, the approach that you're taking towards this, and to your own, just in general, your own self development?
So I think you're trying to, yeah, you're kind of breaking up. So
Sorry.
you were talking about a podcast or books or whatever to be able to help what motivated me to get into better shape and whatever.
Or just in general, like you're because when you start working out, you start taking responsibility for your own physical fitness. Usually, there's a lot of other things that start to fall in place. It
Um,
starts to spread out the rest of your life. What are some things that have impacted that aren't necessarily directly fire and EMS related?
I think a lot of it was I took a long trip. Instead of listening to the radio over and over again, I actually listened to David Goggins' book, You Can't Hurt Me. And me having a military background and the struggles of ups and downs of him when he first went into the SEAL group, he was fucking huge. And for him to be able to have that passion and a desire to cut weight, to be able to make it into the SEALs, um, that's something that in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, dummy, you had to do that because when I got out of basic training and everything, I got up to like 230 and we were getting deployed. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do when I joined the Army, when I joined the National Guard. Um, I had to stay back here in the States. I was married at the time and whatever. She didn't want to leave. But knowing that there was a deployment coming and knowing that I was going to go do what I was going to go do as a combat arms soldier, I was like, no, I'm not going to miss this. So I fucking busted my ass off and I dropped 20 pounds and made my height and weight to be able to pass my PT test to go to deployment. So, I mean, there's always something in your brain that no matter what you've done in your past, that it just clicks. And then you're like, oh yeah, there's that motherfucker. Now we're gonna turn it on and we're gonna do what we're supposed to do. It just sometimes it takes a little bit of a spark. Whether if it's from a book or a podcast or from what you see from somebody else. Um, and that's the other thing with the Discord and having this group is to maybe initiate that spark into somebody's brain and be like, fuck, I want to do what they're doing. I want to feel better. I want to be myself. I want to make myself better and continue on with that.
So, what is your because ultimately with any kind of personal development and weight loss, it's all about your processes because the habits you create, processes you use are what gets you to that weight loss.
So,
What does
um,
that look like for you?
for me, so it's kind of hard because I work nights and I try to at least go 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I've been wanting to do 2 a days, uh, but that's kind of impossible. So now, I've implemented when I come home from work at 6 o'clock in the morning, I do an hour of yoga. I have the Diamond Dallas Page yoga system. I bought it like 6 years ago. I was like, I'll fucking do it. And then I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know. But then I keep on seeing the videos, the very first video that made me buy it. And I'm like, I need to do that. I think now, since it's getting a little cooler here in Iowa, that I'm actually, and I haven't done this in a long time, and I'm probably going to die, is I'm going to start running again. I, I'm, I used to, then in my brain, I was like, man, I could probably still do a 14-minute 2 mile because that's what I did when I was in the army. And here I'm approaching 42 years old here in a couple weeks, and I'm like, this is probably a stupid idea. And so, but I'm gonna try that and try to bring that into my daily life, in between work and balancing work and everything. And then change my eating habits haven't really changed. I've just been eating more protein, less carbs and things like that. It's hard sometimes being at night, but there's 24 hours a day. And so you just got to find time to do it.
My wife and I did the 75 hard challenge at the beginning of earlier this year. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
What was that? You
The
broke up.
Sorry, I don't know what the issue is. The 75 hard challenge. Are you familiar with that at all?
Oh, 75 hard?
Yeah, yeah.
I read your lips. You were breaking up again, but I got it. Yeah,
Sorry.
75 hard.
I don't know why it's giving me trouble. Are you familiar with that at
Yeah.
all? With that challenge? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that was probably a friend of mine described it to me as he said it will show you your own bullshit. And
Mm,
I have to say it really does, because most of us would think, hey, how do I fit in two workouts, reading and sticking to a diet, drinking a gallon of water a day, doing all of these things? When you're committed to it, you'll find a way.
mhm.
Like, we work obscene schedules, and somehow for 75 days straight we found a way to make it work. And actually, my wife and I had an agreement that if one of us messed up, we would both have to start the challenge over. So talk about a little motivation.
Oh,
But
oh.
I feel like that's where we struggle the most as an industry is the we have a bad sense of what motivation is. Motivation isn't like, oh, I'm just going to feel inspired to do it and that's only when I'm going to do it. No, you need to put in the reps and do the work. The motivation will come later. The motivation will come when you start seeing results, not before. Um, so yeah, I think we get caught up in our own bullshit too often, and we don't realize that, hey,
Yeah, I think
we can make
it
it work.
is a lot of it is really mental. And I mean, you got to really got to break that mental barrier down. And then once you start doing things and seeing the results and feeling better, it's just going to come more and more natural. Um, like Rob Bailey in the Hustle Standard, they have a song, and then even he has his own stuff on YouTube and whatnot that he's like, you know, motherfucker, you got 24 hours in a day. Why are we not using it all? Like, you can sleep when you're dead, which you need sleep to recover. And that's an important thing. But I mean, he does kind of have a point. Like, but sometimes though, when you get back from a shift and you're just like, no, fuck it. Just go to sleep, get your sleep, and then do it after you get up.
How has this helped you with your mental health going through this weight loss process?
Um, it's been a struggle because I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. And then, I can tell when I haven't pushed myself hard enough. Um, because then I start kind of getting down. It kind of sucks for me because I have a double-edged sword. I have all the stuff from combat, and then I have all the stuff that I see every day when I'm on the ambulance or even at work. Um, it I'm a double whammy. And then when I start feeling bad and I start feeling like the things in my head are starting to talk at me again. I'm like, no, I'll go put my shoes on. We'll go to the gym. We'll throw some plates and we'll clang and bang and then we'll get rid of it real quick. It's been doing a lot better than what it has been. I don't have those thoughts come around as much. Um, and I'm more clear headed than I normally have been. So it does work out for me pretty well.
What's your long-term vision? You're starting with the Discord server, trying to push this out to the general populace. What do you have a longer-term vision or plan for that?
Once the Discord has started going and whatever, and then I'm planning on posting more videos throughout my on my TikTok and whatnot. I've thought about putting a YouTube up, um, and just doing some stuff in my garage. I actually created a forearm workout equipment with a dowel rod, a rope, an eyelid hook, and some 25-pound plates. And you just sit there and just play like this, and it grows your forearm, helps with your grip. So, um, I've told a couple of the newer ones that are kind of smaller. I'm like, listen, if you do this, you work out your forearms, the grip on that hose is going to be a hell of a lot better, and you'll be able to work that sounded bad. You're going to work the hose a lot better. I'm gonna say it, but you're gonna work the hose a lot better. You're gonna be able to handle it, because it's true. I mean, you got to have some strength to be able to handle 125 psi. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but I for right now, I'd really want to get that going, and really hopefully try to help people. I'm not going to really say change lives because I'm not really that type of person that wants to be like, I'm going to be the changer of everything. I just want to help people in my own community besides the people that I've been helping on the streets. Um, it's always been in the military, you always take care of your own and you become a better group. And you become closer because you're sharing your struggles with each other. You're sharing your successes with each other. Once that's bigger, fuck, I don't know. I know I'm not going to be like some fucking fitness influencer or anything like that. I just want to be a guy that makes sure that everybody can go home at night and still be able to see their family the next day. That's all I want to do.
love it, love it. Well, send me the link for the Discord, and I'll make sure to put it in the comment section of the podcast episode, so that way everybody can find it.
Yeah.
Um,
And if
Anywhere
you
else
end
that you?
up following me on my TikTok, it's in the bio there.
Okay,
And then I'm gonna start talking more about it. I might throw a live, probably in the next week or two, start talking about things and getting things going more.
awesome, awesome. Well, I'll be sure to send that around. You have a much larger following than I do, but we'll send it around to
Well, I just
everybody.
made
And
some really stupid videos, and next thing you know, I'm like, holy crap! Like, I think one of them's got like 7.5 million views, and I was like,
damn,
oh, well. I'm just my goofy self, I guess, and I'm glad I made people laugh. So I originally started that whole entire page was just to make some type of comedy, and it was pretty much early on as EMS fire, and it was just kind of like saving my own sanity, and that's where I'm at today.
well, I think the more of us little guys band together and start pushing out good content, kind of singing from the same sheet of music, I think that we'll hopefully start to see some cultural shifts because we all just need to communicate with each other. We're all dealing with a lot of the same problems. We just need to talk and work through it together instead of fighting each other all the time.
Yeah,
So,
the whole eating each other up, unless you do something really fucking stupid. But if you're just, you got a brand new EMT and you want to be a dick to them, why? Like,
yeah.
train them, give them your knowledge and help them become the good EMT or the best paramedic you can have. Or, fuck, you never know. You might end up having a doctor in the back of your rig posing as a student. I,
Hmm.
when I saw that in that movie, I was like, oh, 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 that's a twist.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. So Michelle and I watched Code 3. What day was it? What is today? 2 days ago. And that last wreck at the end, she and I were both in tears. Like we both had to like pause the movie because it was so much. Wow. But
Yeah, when they pulled up on that, I was like, ah.
mm-mm,
And then when he pulled that pacifier, I was like,
mm-mm,
nope,
mm-mm.
nope. But I'm so fucking warped in my head. Like I just kept on watching. I was like, please let that baby be good. Please let that baby be good. And I was like, okay. Whew. Then I was like, why are we taking? I was just like, oh, that was probably about the biggest sigh of relief I ever had in my life. But then I was kind of going nuts. I'm like, why are you taking the baby out of the car seat? Just take the whole car seat. But I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, when you hear the
But
baby
yeah,
start
no,
crying, that was oof, oof.
yeah, Uh, I I've only had one baby call on the entire time I've been on right now, and I felt bad because the baby was crying the entire time, fell off the counter. Baby was
Mhm.
crying, and I was like, well, crying baby is a happy baby, is a good baby, we'll be all right. Well, then they were like, hey, it's small little skull fracture. I was like, fuck.
Mhm.
Like, well, I guess I was like, well, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for that one, but you always learn
Yeah.
something new on the job, even when you're like, you could be seasoned as shit, and then something out of nowhere, and you're like, oh fuck. Yeah,
God.
yeah. I eating each other alive though is that's really it's gotta stop.
I would almost argue we need a little bit of reverse bullying. Like all the people that aren't eating are young. Those are the ones we need to push back on and say, look, either get your shit together or get out. Like
Yeah,
you're hurting yourself and other people. Like this is not going to work. Get out. Get. I would love it if they'd all figure their shit out, get some help, go to therapy, whatever. But if they're not willing to, sorry, bye.
yeah. If you're that far, it just and then they wonder why there's so much like besides the whole pay part, but there's just then they wonder why nobody wants to come in there because they're like, oh well, everybody's an asshole.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, that's true, but we can be less of an asshole to our new people who are trying to take over, so then we can end up leaving and you're left it in good hands. But
Because they're coming to get us one day.
yeah,
Well, Adam, thank you very much for your time.
right.
I like this. Let's talk some more. And anything that you share, definitely tag us, and we'll push it out to everybody.
Yeah,
All right, brother. Well, be safe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you later.
will do.
Thanks, man.
Later.
See ya.